Yesterday, we saw a deal being reached in the Eurogroup on short-term debt. Debt relief. Are you happy with what was agreed yesterday?
Well, partly happy, yes, concerning the debt relief. It's a long-term deal with the long-term consequences, but still it's a positive thing. The bad thing is, the bad news are that although Greek's government implemented all the agreement and respected the agreement, the other side, that means Mr. Schäuble and the IMF, are not also respecting their signatures. And they are asking more and more measures, more and more austerity, which is catastrophic, both from Greece and, as we saw, from the different referendums for all Europe, for the whole Europe.
Today we heard from the Commission. They said that their programs were based more around monetisation rather than privatisation. Of course, there's still some privatisation, but is this an improvement?
Well, it's an old religious method, I guess. You know, Jesus Christ once baptized the meat into fish, you know, and then he said that this is not meat, it's fish, so you can eat it. So it's the same. You know, now they are baptized in privatizations to monetization. You can use whatever you want. The real thing is that, actually there is a sell-off of the Greek assets for a very cheap prices, exploiting the weak situation of the Greek state and also the debt, the problem with the debt.
You mentioned some examples in your presentation about airports. Do you think that examples like that, do you think we've learnt the lessons of mistakes that were maybe made in earlier programs?
Well, I think the present Commission is trying to do things better than the previous ones, during the previous program, where they were very monolithic and very dogmatic and very aggressive against Greece. That's true. From the other side, it's too little, too late. We need much more help, and we need much more comprehension about the difficulties Greece is facing. Nobody mentions the refugees problem anymore. But in Greece there are blocked tens of thousands of refugees, more than 60,000 refugees all over Greece, and the Greek state is paying for those people, because the aid from the European Union is not going to the Greek government, but to NGOs. And so the Greek state has to pay for the police, the hospitals, for the infrastructure, all the logistics about the refugees.
I think most people will agree that Greece has been heroic in its response to the refugee crisis. Would you like to see that recognised more by the EU, either through subvention or through a bit more flexibility in the current agreements?
Yes, I would like to see that. I would like to hear Mr. Schäuble or the IMF saying, you guys, you have made an excellent job in concerning the refugees. You have actually defended the values of Europe. You have given shelter and you saved lives, thousands of lives. So, yes, we will be a little bit more flexible concerning the implementation of this austerity program. You will give you some more time. We will give you some more flexibility concerning the repayment of the debt, etc. No, nothing like that is happening. On the contrary, the more difficult is the situation, the more things are asking from the Greek government. It's ridiculous and it's a shame.
Finally, do you think there's any impetus for real movement for proposals like the ones you've just mentioned? Do you think, for example, the Italian referendum might move the decision-making in a way that would provide greater support for Greece?
I would, every logical person in the world would think the same, that since the Eurozone is facing serious problems, more problems after the Italian referendum, and we have the extreme right wing all over Europe. The creditors, and especially Berlin, would be more easy to, more willing to have an agreement with the Greece, which is not the biggest problem in the Eurozone. It's a minor problem, you know. It's rather a symbolic fight than a real fight. They want to punish Greece for the others to understand, to take the message, you know. So, since we have other problems, one logical person would wait to see a kind of flexibility. No, it's like Titanic, you know. It's like Titanic. The good old elite is dancing on the board of Titanic without taking into consideration that the boat is going directly to the iceberg.